I'm Noah Henry, and I'll approve this message. You know, Donald Trump said that he would like to repeal and replace Obamacare. Okay, so if you want to repeal and replace Obamacare, what are you going to do that with? Because you don't have no healthcare plan to do that. In your concept of a plan, it's not actually a plan. So what are you going to do that with? Because I actually have a healthcare plan. Because I actually have a healthcare plan that can help the American people. And my healthcare plan is this: free healthcare. Now I know that Senator Bernie Sanders and Congresswoman AOC Alexander Ocasio-Cortez been trying to pass Medicare for all. And trying to pass the Green New Deal. But you know, the American people, doesn't care about the propaganda and the agenda that the Trump minions and the Trump suckers is coming out with every single day for our appreciation of it. It appears that Trump thinks if he gives us more propaganda from his regime and from his regime and from his, regime and from his minions, then not only would he get our appreciation, but he would get our praise. And you want to know something? How idiotic does the President of the United States think the American people are? The American people are way more smarter than Donald Trump. I mean, come on. The American people might be able to do the job as president of the United States just a little bit more better than Donald Trump. Hell, I could even do the job as president of the United States a little more better than Donald Trump. because someone one of my supporters asked me yesterday, what did I think about the death threat against Barron Trump. Donald Trump's youngest child. And I said that Barron Trump is a 19-year-old kid that just wants to be a kid. That just wants to be a kid. that just wants to be a kid, and so happens to be also a Trump who wants to be a kid, but that so happens to be also a Trump. You know, listen, Barron Trump didn't ask for this. Barron didn't ask his father to run for president. Donald Trump Jr. didn't ask his father to run for president. Edward Trump didn't ask his father to run for president. Ivanka and Jared Kushner Trump and didn't ask her father to run for president. And Tiffany and her husband didn't ask her father to run for president. Nobody in this country, nobody in this nation asked Donald Trump to run for president. Nobody. and while the American people and while the American and you want to know something, while the American people might think this is funny, it's not funny, not at all, because what we're talking about here, is people's healthcare, people's lives, people's everyday necessities that the American people need to have in order to live. That's what we are talking about. We are not worried about the petty role. We are not worried about the petty little stuff that Donald Trump propaganda machine throws at us every day, because we know the truth. This is not a administration. This has turned into a regime. This administration has turned into a regime that we need to get out of the White House immediately. We must get this regime out of the White House and out of the Oval Office. And we must elect someone who will actually stand up and fight for the American people. And that's going to stand up and fight for the American people and do what is in the best interest of the American people. We need to elect somebody as president who is a statesman, who knows the law, who doesn't try to take control of the who doesn't try to take control of the freedom of the press and the free and that doesn't try to oppress the right to vote, or that doesn't try to oppress the right to choose, or that doesn't try to oppress the right to a abortion for a teenage mother. Yes, I know what an abortion is. It's something that you do to get rid of your baby if you don't want to keep it no more. That doesn't try to oppress the right to freedom of speech in the United States. We need a president that we need a president that's going to fight for us instead of oppressing us of our everyday rights and values by throwing us propaganda every day. We need to have somebody of dignity, respect, courage, humility, character, charming, and by far, the most good-looking man in America. you know what I mean? I'm not saying that it's me. But look, look, I'm not saying that it's me, but I'm just saying we need to get rid of this regime and elect an administration that's going to fight for our principle, democracy, that our founding fathers founded for us when they founded the United States of America, the land of the free, the home of the land of the free, and the home of the brave. And we need a president that's going to lower gas prices. And we need to elect a president that's going to lower the gas prices, lower prescription costs, lower healthcare costs, cut the cost of groceries, cut the cost of prescription drugs for for the American people. And under my health cap,